Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer, the DRF race of the day for Friday, September the 18th. It's opening day of the Belmont Fall Championship meeting, and our race of the day is race number 4. Let's throw up the field for the $80,000 Miners Mark Stakes. We're going a mile and a half over Big Sandy, only a field of 5, but an interesting group. And you can download free formulator past performances for this race on the Race of the Day event page at DRF.com. Access them, handicap along with us. Let's throw up the Timeform US pace projector. Mike, I'm real surprised this isn't a blue bar situation. When You're to Blame is expected to make the early lead, they got to be going slow, right?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't expect there to be much pace in this race anyway, going a mile and a half on the main track. But you're right. If You're to Blame is going to be on the lead in this race, then you know they're not going to be going fast.
Something tells me You're to Blame may not even be on the lead. I wonder if Danny California, the number 3, stretching out in distance, is going to try to make the running and stay all the way around. Let's talk a little bit about You're to Blame, who finished second last time out in the Birdstone at Saratoga. Let's watch that race right now. Rocketry, who's also in this race, is in the 2 path outside of the winning favorite Moretti. He made a 4-wide bid into the teeth of the pace on the turns, just going to come up a bit short. You're to Blame, who was outpaced when this pace started to heat up on the turn, is on the far outside. For a second on the turn, Mike, it looked like You're to Blame was going to run last, and eventually he's going to run second.
Right. I mean, he comes with a good late run here to just get up for second. It kind of felt like, Dan, that he did all of his running in that race when the race was already over, and he just got up for second in there. Honestly, when I looked at this race, Dan, I thought You're to Blame and Rocketry sort of towered over this field. Especially over this distance. And out of that Birdstone, I would just much rather have Rocketry than You're to Blame. But I realized that their running styles could make things a little bit more difficult for Rocketry and make things a little bit easier on You're to Blame.
True. I agree with you. I think Rocketry had the more enervating trip last time out. And I also agree with you that both of these horses at this distance seem to tower over this field right now, especially on dirt. There are a couple of turf horses in here that have proven capable at the distance. We'll see if they can run on the dirt. One of them is the 2 Counter Offer going out for Ian Wilkes. This horse has raced 3 times on dirt, only 1 second place finish. No problems handling longer distances on turf, but I think there are some class questions, and there are always questions when they switch surfaces. Plus, he doesn't seem to have a lot of speed.
Yeah, that's what I liked least about him, is his running style. I mean, his 3 dirt starts did come, early last year, early on in his career. He didn't run, in my opinion, particularly well in any of those races, but maybe he's just a better horse now. I sort of get looking at him that way. I guess my biggest problem with him, Dan, is that he doesn't have any speed. For a horse who I don't know if he's going to be able to run his best race on dirt, he's got the good race 2 back going a mile and 3/8 at Saratoga. And I would just point out that was a very fast pace for that distance of a race. And I personally felt like he took advantage to pull off an upset in that race. And it's just not the kind of effort that makes me want to take him back in this race, even if he's going to be a good price.
You could argue that the 3 Danny California took advantage of a good pace last time out at Saratoga over Muddy Going. They went fast in the early portion of this 9-furlong race, and he's swinging on the far outside. He was 4 wide most of the way, and he's just going to wear these horses down. Now, Danny California has really never stretched out to these longer distances, but ever since they've gotten him out to a mile and an eighth, Mike, he has really blossomed. He's won 3 out of his last 4 races at a mile and an eighth. You get a look at this guy. He's just a big, good-bodied horse that might have the physique to go a mile and a half, and his sire of Fleet Alex, that wasn't a problem for him. Add in his tactical speed, and all of a sudden he's sort of an interesting new face for a barn that was red hot at Saratoga.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, outside of the 2 favorites, and obviously this isn't saying much. It's a very short field. But I thought Danny California was maybe the most interesting alternative if you were looking for one. And for all the reasons that you mentioned, Dan, I don't know if he wants to go a mile and a half. Having known this horse for a long time, he's been bouncing around in New York for several years now. I never really looked at him and thought, he had stakes potential, but maybe the mile and a half will work for him, especially if his trainer, Orlando Noda, can keep his hot run at Saratoga going down at Belmont Park.
Rocketry, the 4, like the 1 You're to Blame, is a graded stakes winner at this elongated distance. But like You're to Blame, it's been a long time between drinks. And my personal feeling is I've lost enough money on Rocketry chasing him. I realize he ran well last time out in the Birdstone, and he runs well in most of these races. At 6-5, you can have him.
Yeah, I got off him last year because it just, for whatever reason, after they switched him to dirt at the end of 2018 and he ran those two big races to win going long, he just sort of lost me last year. It just felt like he wasn't as good. There were some excuses in his races, but he didn't have excuses all the time. And he's also got that terrible running style where he's always last and trying to make a run into it. All those things sort of conspired against him for me. But I'll tell you something, Dan, he's come back from the layoff with 2 starts this year. And I actually feel like, even though he's only earned 88 buyers both times, I think he's run really well in both of those races. The first one in the flat out, he made an early run into that race before he flattened out. I thought he took a step forward that day. And I just think he ran the second best race last time. I mean, he couldn't beat Moretti, but he did make an early move. He battled down to mid-stretch, and he just got a little bit tired at the end. But I thought he ran the second best race.
No, I agree with you 100%. Plus, Moretti would be simply odds on in this field if he was in this spot. And Rocketry made him run from the 3/16 pole down to about the 16th pole after making that big early move. He could obviously win this race. It's just my personal preference against Rocketry. The 5 is Petit Fils, and Petit Fils is a group winner at 1.5 miles on turf in France. So he has some ability. He's come to North America. He's run 3 times. He's underperformed. He's claimed out of his last race, and you get the feeling the new connections are kind of taking a shot here. I wonder if they try to put this horse on the lead.
I wonder that too. I don't know if he's going to handle dirt, Dan. These are very dangerous connections off the claim, though. Boy, I'll tell you something. If he had shown anything in his 3 starts since he's gotten over here, maybe I would be mildly interested, but his races have not been good. Listen, it's at least worth pointing out, though, that he has a little bit of speed. He's run well on synthetic and turf, so maybe he'll be one of those horses who can handle 3 surfaces. I don't know. He's not really for me, but he's mildly interesting.
Let's take a look at our top selections for the opening day feature race at Belmont, our Friday race of the day. You're going with Rocketry. He ran the second best race last time out. He is a very talented horse. He's a very logical horse in this race. I just wonder how Danny California is going to handle the 1.5 miles. He's not really going to have to handle the 1.5 miles. He's going to have to handle 2 good horses at 1.5 miles. If he stays at 8-1, though, I think that's fair.
I totally understand your thinking in this race, Dan. I have no problem with you not wanting the 2 favorites in this race, because at the end of the day, they're short prices who haven't won. Neither one of them have won a race in a very long time, and they are not easy to trust. I just couldn't really find the alternative I wanted, but I do think maybe you found the best one.
4135 for Mike, 3415 for me. It's the $80,000 Miners Mark Stakes. It's race number 4 at beautiful Belmont Park on opening day of the Fall Championship meeting. An approximate post time for the Miners Mark is 2:35 Eastern. Good luck.